Today we're going to be reviewing the Cybex Eezy S. Before we get started, I wanted to say that we are unaffiliated with any sort of stroller producers, manufacturers. We do not sell strollers, we only repair them. So our reviews are impartial. The Cybex Eezy S is one of a slew of strollers that had moved on to the market in order to take advantage of what Babyzen started, which was producing strollers that are small enough, fold small enough to take onto airplanes as hand luggage. So this is one of these. It's usable from 6 months, and it weighs in at 5.9 kilos. When you fold it all together, it's 25 by 45 by 53 centimeters. I would say that the number one positive for this stroller, in a way positive, is that it actually does have a true one-hand fold. I've said in a previous video that there are no true one-hand folds. This is a true one-hand fold. So you just pop it in like this, and it actually folds down quite easily with one hand. Before we get into the mechanics of the stroller, I wanted to make a few notes on comfort, both for you and for your child. As far as your child's concerned, it has a decent sized seat for a stroller of this type. It's comparable with other strollers on the market. Most strollers these days advertise that you can use them up to 17 kilos, which is like a 4-year-old. I do not recommend that with any travel strollers. I would say up to 2, and even that is starting to push it for the majority of travel strollers, this one included. However, if you're using it with a baby, of course, after 6 months, or a toddler, is decent for the size of the seat, and it functions quite well for travel as it's intended. So in airports or on smooth streets, in shopping malls, and so on. It does have a reclinable seat in the back, which is quite nice. Allows some napping. It's already in the reclined position, but it's enough for a child to nap in. As far as comfort for you, the one-hand fold thing is nice. It goes quite well with a travel stroller. Makes it easy to fold down and pack away and so on. I would have liked to have seen a shoulder strap while it's folded down. You have that on some other models, you don't on this, but that's okay. The one-hand fold is quite nice in that sense. As far as wheeling it, if you're using it inside airports and malls and on flat streets, not cobblestones, it's going to work quite nice. Don't be fooled by the large suspension elements on the back, which actually are really nice, but you're not going to be going on bumps and stuff with this. As far as wheeling concerns might be concerned, as far as how comfortable it's going to be used, I do have some issues with the front wheels and the way they're done, and we're going to get into that in the mechanical section. And I have a strong suspicion that the stroller is going to have problems with what we call wobbly wheel syndrome, which means that the wheels begin to waver quite a lot as you move it, once it starts to wear down a bit. But again, I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Overall, I would say it's comparable comfort-wise with other strollers on the market, and I really don't have any issues with how it folds or how an adult would carry it or use it, provided using it as a travel stroller. Okay, jumping right into the mechanics of the stroller. As far as the materials and the various connection points on the chassis itself, it's comparable to a lot of higher class strollers. No, not quite as good as the Babyzen, I would say. The metal is a little bit thinner and so on, but it's also a little bit lighter. But overall, it's mechanically solid, pretty stable. You're not going to notice that it feels tremendously rickety in relation to the frame itself. Again, though, I would recommend not using it up to like a 4-year-old child or anything like that. Use it for younger children than it's advertised as functioning for, and use it in a proper travel sort of a way, and you're not going to really have any trouble with the materials that the frame is made out of, or with any of the connection points on the chassis itself. More specifically, then, we're going to deal a little bit with the one-hand fold mechanism. So, while it is really nice that you have this one-hand fold mechanism that's so easy to access with the button, I have seen a lot of similar mechanisms on full-size strollers that have this button in the middle, and pretty much in all cases, you do eventually start to develop problems. The reason being that this button accesses a couple of wires that run down the sides, which in turn affect these mechanisms here. When you push it here, I don't know if you can see it there, there's a button that pops out, and it's relatively complex inside, and it doesn't take much to fail in order for the entire system not to work and for you to then be unable to fold down your stroller at all. That wire connects to plastic points. It can pull out of those plastic points. for that reason as well, in relation to maintenance. If you want to properly maintain a stroller like this, it's going to take a lot of spraying lubricants like WD-40 that can seep in into the various cracks, and angling the stroller so that gravity will allow that to go in if you want to maintain this and keep it functioning a lot. Lower down on the stroller, I mentioned before, it has the suspension. I actually like to have a larger suspension. It's a little bit unnecessary on the stroller because I don't think it's going to deal with the kind of terrain that one would normally want the suspension for, but still, it was a good idea. The wheels are all removable, which is a good thing, because you can replace the wheels if you need to, and of course it helps a little bit, I suppose, with packing. All this thing already packs down pretty small. The key issue, I would say, on this stroller mechanically is going to be the front wheels. So this is a stroller that has never been used. It's been this is like right out of the box, and it's already quite wobbly here. And the problem is, even though you can replace the front wheels, because that wheel is already kind of loose inside there, the axle is actually going to eventually start doing damage on the inside of these housing mechanisms. And that's not the wheel, that's the housing mechanism. So that's not going to be easy to replace, and that's what's going to need to be replaced if you're going to, have to fix anything related to the front wheels. There's also no swivel lock on the front end. So if you do develop a wobbly wheel problem, you can't even lock the front wheels to go straight. There's going to be nothing preventing those from hanging to the side and making it quite unpleasant to use over time if it starts to wear down. It doesn't mean that if you aren't very careful with it, use it very much as a travel stroller with small children, don't put too much weight and so on, that it will develop such problems, but in my experience, this sort of a setup on the front does have a tendency to create problems in the long run. So in conclusion regarding this stroller, I would rate it as sort of average on the mechanical side. It has comparable textiles, comparable materials with most of the strollers of this sort on the market. Most meaning that there are ones that are worse and ones that are better. The problem, in my opinion, with this stroller, the major problem, comes in with the price tag. Because it doesn't come with a rain cover, it doesn't come with a travel bag. And when you take those things in consideration, you could get a Baby Zen for the same price, and a Baby Zen is a vastly superior stroller mechanically to this stroller. If you're looking for something cheaper, there's even better strollers that you can get cheaper. So I would rather have a Baby Zen knockoff or a number of other strollers that are just a little bit more mechanically solid, or simply cheaper and of more or less the same mechanical quality. So unfortunately with the Cybex Eezy S, it's an okay stroller, but I don't think it really knows its place on the market. If it had clocked in a bit cheaper in the price tag, then it would be a good deal. But since it's not, I think there are better things that you could use your money on. That's just my opinion. And again, we repair strollers, so my opinion has a lot to do with mechanical solidity and the longevity of the stroller and so on. In any case though, that is our review of the Cybex Eezy S. We hope this video has been interesting to you. If it has been, we ask you to subscribe, as it helps us continue making videos in the future. Thank you.